He's gonna take you back to the past to play the shitty games that suck ass. He'd rather have a buffalo take a diarrhea dump in his ear. He'd rather eat the rotten asshole of a broken cup and down it with beer. He's the angriest gamer you've ever heard. He's the angry Nintendo nerd. He's the angry Atari Sega nerd. He's the angry video game nerd.
It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's a shitty game. Superman for the Atari 2600. I'm playing it on the 7800 just for variety. But anyway, what can be said about Superman? He's one of the most famous superheroes of all time. Even the word super's in his name, a word that implies excellence, outstanding quality, and brilliant divine magnificence. Yeah, this sucks. But I'm not going to critique the graphics or the sound or anything like that. It's just that, what? Like, seriously, what's going on here? From what I understand, you start off as Clark Kent, which is pointless. You just walk to the right, a bridge explodes because of Lex Luthor, so you go back to the phone booth, you turn into Superman, and the rest of the game you're just flying around looking for all the pieces of this bridge. You also have to carry a bunch of bad guys off to jail. And if you get hit by kryptonite, you lose the ability to fly, which can only be regained if you touch Lois Lane. There's no way to die. The whole game is based around the clock. It's all about getting the fastest time. But the only thing that'll eventually happen is you'll throw the game out the window faster than a speeding bullet. The navigation is dreadful. If you fly up, you just see more buildings, and that makes sense, right? On the top of the buildings are more buildings, and it just keeps on going. There doesn't even seem to be any boundaries. Everything just repeats. If you press the button and move the joystick around, it shows you all the screens around you. Yeah, it's like X-ray vision. That is, if X-ray vision means seeing into the next imaginary Atari space. Have you ever heard of an Atari game that needs a map? Well, this is one of them. But to tell you the truth, I don't think it would help because nothing makes any sense. Like right here, I just keep going up, and all it does is just change colors. I can't figure this out. So, let's move on to the NES, a Superman game for the Nintendo Entertainment System. How could you go wrong? Well, first of all, you get this lousy music, which isn't even the Superman theme. Then the Statue of Liberty starts talking to you. Can somebody explain this to me? Is there any reason why the Statue of Liberty has to talk to Superman? I'll watch over you? Is it a guardian angel or something? Is there something I don't know? Like, what kind of drugs were they taking when they came up with this shit? So again, you start off as Clark Kent, and you're at the Daily Planet talking to people. Hi, Clark, your favorite Cub reporter Jimmy here. Say cheese, click. Okay, what was the point of that? You know, it's really annoying that there isn't any way to cancel these dialogue boxes or speed them up. And why is everyone wearing green? Is it St. Patrick's Day or something? Why are the telephones as big as the desks? Or hell, why are they half as big as the people? Or no, if they're in the background, that makes them even bigger. What a strange looking office. And who wants to play as Clark Kent anyway? The first real problem is trying to get used to the controls. It's another one of those games where up is jump. And why do you jump so high? I mean, look at this. If somebody actually jumped like that, it would be like 20 feet in the air. I know he's Superman, but if he's trying to be Clark Kent, he can at least act like it. But anyway, the B button does nothing, and the A button just fidgets around. What's wrong with them? If you do it in the air, he like floats. Oh my God, somebody call an exorcist. So your main objective at this point is just get out of this room. You go out the door, right? Well, of course it seems pretty obvious, but take a guess how to open the door. Seriously, take a wild guess. B, no. A, no. Start, no. Select, no. Up only jumps, so you have to hit down. I never heard of a game where down goes through the door. Alright, well now we're really starting to suck some shitballs. Right away, there's people outside trying to kill you. I don't know what kind of grudge anyone would have against Clark Kent, but anyway, you go into this phone booth and turn into Superman. What is this? This is the most pathetic excuse for Superman I've ever seen. On the title screen he looks okay, but why in the game does he look like this? Your basic attack is some kind of weird close-range fireball. I don't know, I think he's supposed to be punching people, but it's just weird. Then you have a menu with special superpowers, each with their own energy bar, much like in Mega Man. Most of these special attacks don't seem to do anything. I assume that there's specific parts in the game where they all come in handy, but for now, I really don't know what to do with any of them. If you use Super Flight, all it does is make Superman fly up into the air. You watch that for a little bit, and then he comes back down. So, okay, what was that all about? I found certain spots where if I use it there, then he'll fly over the city and end up at another part of the game. Now, I'm sure that that's what you're supposed to do, but I'm still not sure why sometimes he just goes up and comes back down, so I haven't really figured that out, and honestly, I don't care. You have a map screen which seems like it should be self-explanatory enough, but there's times when you have to use a subway train. Oops, you can't ride the subway with no pass. What, are you kidding me? He's Superman! He needs to buy a fucking ticket?! It's like, yeah, we know you're trying to save the city, but you still need to pay for your ride. Why does he even need to use the subway? Can't he just fly? Why go underground? That's the complete opposite of flying. That's like if Spider-Man wanted to go from building to building, he'd just go down to ground level and then just walk. That's the stupidest idea I ever heard. And when you eventually get a ticket and ride the subway, why is Superman so small compared to everyone else? Is he a 5-year-old kid? It's kind of creepy, these tall guys in shadow. It's like, watch out, or they might be kidnappers. Why are they dark anyway? They don't look like anyone else in the game. Speaking of which, none of the people in this game have anything interesting to say. Here's just one random spot, so let's take a look and just see what people have to say here. Got any news? Okay, well, that was real informative. Let's see what he has to say. I know nothing at all. Well, that sums it all up. Alright, well, let's just talk to one more guy. Oh, get the Roman number 2, whatever that does. Hey, what are you doing? You see, I rest my case. There's no reason to talk to anybody. It's like in Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest. The whole game is full of people who tell you things that don't make any sense or have any relevance with the game. For example, this old woman tells you not to look into the Death Star or you'll die. Well, the Death Star is nowhere in the game. Both of these games were released in 1988. Now that must have been the year of people talking and not making sense in video games. Haven't you seen the movie Superman? Yeah, I did actually. It's nothing like this garbage. So I'm just running around without much of a clue where I'm supposed to go. I'm killing these weird green-headed alien sort of things. I don't know. Ugh, and that music. Then I finally come to some kind of boss character, a woman I guess with a whip and a deformed head. So I'm trying my best, but the control is so awkward and I just keep getting hit. And if your super power meter gets low enough, you turn back into Clark Kent, which is annoying, but at least you can still fight. So I stay back and I keep using that punch attack, and finally she dies, and we get the newspaper headline saying Superman defeats Zod Gang. Wait a minute. The Zod Gang? If you've seen the movie Superman 2, you probably know who General Zod is. That's not Zod. You mean her? Zod Gang? Where's the rest of them? I don't know, but anyway... What? Daily Planets? Isn't it just the Daily Planet? I don't know. I've had enough with this. Wait a minute. Stock market panic? Stock prices fall? What are we talking about? Stocks now? Find out why stock prices have fallen. You'll learn about stocks at the stock market. Okay, that's the goal here? To go to the stock market? Oh my god. Do you remember being a kid? You remember playing Nintendo? What kind of things were you interested in? Comic books, video games, the stock market? Yeah, do you think any kid playing this game gives a shit about the fucking stock market? Why? Why make a game that has anything to do with stocks or taxes or politics? You just don't do that. It's like, what were they thinking? Stocks? I just can't, oh god, what a shitload of fuck. That's enough for me. This game is just so awful that it can't be explained. I can review it for another hour and it won't make a difference. It's an unreviewable game. Cannot be done justice. If you want to play it and see for yourself, I dare you. But just one warning, you will not be happy. Oh wait, this guy here just gave me a password? What's that for? Like if I want to continue here where I left off? Well, that's completely useless. There's no way I would ever need this password, and you want to know why? Because I'm never fucking playing this game again in my life! That's it. Superman is doomed. What is it about Superman that just spells shit? It's like they couldn't make a good Superman game. But there's one in particular that everybody wants me to review. So here's a typical MySpace message. And that game is, drumroll, dramatic silence, Superman 64. You should do a review on E.T. or Superman 64. I have a special demand. No, a big demand. Do you ever think you can play more than 4 minutes of one of the worst N64 games ever, calling Superman? I'd love to see you review Superman on the N64. Could you review Superman for the Nintendo 64? Dude, you should comment on Superman 64. Ever heard of Superman 64? You should review Gulp's Superman 64. I really think you should consider either E.T. for the Atari or Superman 64. Play or make a video of Superman 64. Can you do a review of Superman 64 on AVGN? So please do a review of Superman 64. That's right, Superman 64. Do you need a copy of Superman 64? I'll donate Superman 64. I think you should do Superman 64. I want to know if you ever played Superman 64. Superman for the N64. Superman on the N64. Superman 64, 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 Superman 64! Well, damn. Well, you want it? You got it. Next review is going to be Superman 64.